also within those things, within weird regulations and places that make it difficult for people, there also is such beautiful art that comes out of it, and impoverished cultures and people that were marginalized. House music and techno comes from black, gay, underground culture in the US, from poor neighborhoods, and hip hop comes from poor neighborhoods. And those are for me, the purest art forms in the modern age. And that wouldn't have happened without being marginalized. And that doesn't say that is a good thing, but it happens.
Cosmic art spaces. Be cosmic art. Art faces. Why are you creative?
It's an interesting question. I don't know that I've felt creative for my entire life. I've known that my whole life. I've felt that I've had a lot of energy and I've always needed to put it somewhere. And that has been through sport or has been through music. And I always thought that there were other people who were creative and other people that had more inspiration and that were more quirky or more interesting than I. And I didn't always feel that was being creative, but the more that I've been doing projects and the more that I've been working with other people, the more I've thought back on those experiences, the more that I feel as though that energy is really just creative energy. Soccer, for instance, is something I have done my whole life, and I've recently kind of stepped away from, but that is a very, very creative game where everything is improvised and everything is just from the tip of your brain, and you have to make decisions very quickly. And that is really beautiful in its own way. And it's very similar to DJing, where everything is just flowing and flowing and flowing. And you make mistakes, but you have to continue to go, and you have to read the situation, and you have to make a new decision, and you have to take the experience that you made or the failure that you made, and you have to continue to go. And that is a creative energy I didn't know that I had necessarily, but it was there the whole time. So I think it's something that's just been in me. I've just always had this energy that I have to go and I have to do something, because standard life, eat, sleep, work, doesn't work for me. I'm not inspired by it, and I become pretty depressed or sad in that way. And so I really need to always be putting something out, whether that's through music or whether that's in my job. I currently work with kids, and with kids, they're always expressing some form of creativity, whether that's through movement or whether that's through learning something new, or creating some art piece that at first glance is not magnificent, but really it's the first time they've drawn a butterfly, and it really is truly quite beautiful in that way. And so that creative output is just something that really is what charges my batteries, and without it, I don't know that I could really be happy, and it makes me happy when I'm doing those things. Yeah.
How do you show your creativity?
My creativity is a bit more, how do I say it? Maybe hidden. I don't know. I don't appear as though I'm a very creative or artsy person, I don't think. I don't find myself to be outwardly very colorful or expressive, but my mind is always turning, and especially with more of the question of what I think art is, and what is good, what is beautiful, and what is right are the three questions I generally am kind of thinking about when I'm, doing something in an artistic sense. And with DJing and with producing music electronically, those are really hard questions to answer, because it's a very abstract medium, and it's a very abstract idea. Dude, shit, I forgot the question. What was it again? I feel as though I tend to be quite shy, and I tend to be quite quiet about certain things, and I have a difficulty saying things or expressing things or writing or painting or something like that. And so through DJing, for me, that is my ultimate form of creative expression. And when I have time to play a DJ set that is, a bit longer, for me, I try to really tell some part of a story about myself and about my music history and where I come from, and music that is important to me. Now, the music, I think, in a whole is quite abstract, the repetitiveness and the flow of it all. And through that, there are small moments where you can really make a very large impact on your audience, but also on what your stance is as an artist, or what your stance is as a someone who presents music, a selector, so to speak. And for me, that is my ultimate. For me, there's no other way for me to express my creativity. I'm not an incredible producer. I can't paint, I can't draw, I cannot really write that well. It's difficult for me to explain these things to people, but please just give me some decks and a mixer, and I feel as though then I can talk to people in a way that more people will understand what I mean, and that these things that I'm presenting really, really matter to me. Now, I might not look excited, or I might not look super passionate about what I'm doing, but I feel as though you can hear it and you will feel it in those moments. And for me, DJing is the ultimate. It's the ultimate form of creative expression, because there is no boundaries, and there is really nothing you can't say. And now that also, there is nothing you can't say, and so you can try to say everything, which never really works. And so you have to kind of pick and choose how to do it, and how to be clever about those things in certain moments is really where mature artists shine, and where the good guys are great and the great guys are really, really good, guys or girls, of course. And I find that those small moments and that nuance is what really makes that art form so interesting to me. And I'm still working at it, and I'm not perfect, and I might not even be good, but that is, for me, that is how I can explain what it means to be creative, what it means to be artistic, and that's how I can explain how I'm feeling, or what I think other people should think about when they think about club music or music. Yeah.
What motivates you?
What truly motivates me, I think, it's a self-motivation. There's not a lot of money in it for me. There's not a lot of, I'm not so concerned about name recognition or being somebody. I think that for me, it's really an inner battle to create something beautiful that lasts a long time. Electronic music and DJ culture is quite old now. I mean, over 40 years. And a lot of stories have been told. A lot of DJ sets have been played. There's so many tracks that have been made, so many beautiful tracks, so many bad tracks, so many average tracks. And to go into that field and to try to put something together that will stand up for 10 to 20 to 15 years, when you look back and you say, I made that, it represents me, this is really what I want to say, is very difficult, but that is the ultimate challenge for me. And that I don't know that I need any other real motivation to try and create something, because it is a battle within myself to always tell that story. I think that is really what motivates me. And when the clubs are open again, I guess the people in front of you motivate you like nothing you've ever felt. The people standing there, screaming or with their eyes closed or not looking at you or looking straight at you, those are the people who really motivate you, because you want to make them happy. And that is a really incredible social experience that you have with someone where you don't speak to them. And for me, I mean, I can't put that into words, what that feels like to talk with someone without talking to them. But there are times where you talk to people through your DJ sets, and you feel as though you've made a connection with them, and they can talk to you afterwards, and maybe you feel like you've known each other for months and you just met. And that is really, really incredible. And that also motivates me to try to be just a bit better. And I also just think it's really fun. It's just a weird, fun little game to play, really. And I really enjoy it. And I just want to make the best possible product that I can every time. And I think it's just an inner competition against myself. And I want to show that I think I have something to say that's worthwhile, and maybe other people will like it, maybe they won't, I don't know.
What can block you?
I often feel unmotivated or uninspired when I'm not feeling probably personally very well. Or I've also noticed when the weather's not that great, I also don't always feel well. And it can also be cold and I am feeling very inspired, but there's something sometimes in the air and it's a feeling that you have, and sometimes it comes and sometimes it goes. And I don't know. I do also think the mental block is sometimes a psychological game you have to play with yourself, and you do have to kind of go past it. And I don't know. It's hard to, what blocks me? Myself probably as well. I probably block myself more than anything else. There's a lack of self-trust and a lack of self-trust and belief in yourself that what you're doing is worth it, what you're doing means something, what you're doing is good, because it may not be, but you do have to put together a lot of different pieces before your product becomes very polished and very refined and something that you're really proud of. And I'm still trying to find that point where I feel very comfortable saying every time I can go out, I know I'm going to put something out that's worthwhile, because it's not going to happen. But the higher I can raise that percentage to being 60, 70, 80% of the time I go out, I know I'm going to put something together that's really worthwhile. That's a really good step. But it's a fight against myself for that. And I'm pretty hard on myself a lot of the times, for no reason perhaps, or for a good reason, I don't know. But I think it's just an inner battle with your headphones, a synthesizer or decks or whatever it is, and it's very much it is kind of closed off, and you do feel isolated, and there is a very social atmosphere going on, and it is a very social music, and at the same time you're very alone, and you can be very sequestered in your own small corner in your own house, fighting to try and find the greatest thing you've ever made. And if you go into the studio, if you go into the booth, and that's every time you say this has to be the best of all time ever, it's just never going to happen. And you learn that the more and more and more you do it, it's never going to be the best. And that's why you keep going back, because you want to get one step closer. And perfection is just a silly thing to chase after, because the pursuit of perfection is flawed in itself, because the spaces where mistakes are and where things are dirty is actually where a lot of the beauty is, in art and in humanity. And without those, I don't know if it would be worthwhile doing. I guess that's the question, because who decides what is perfect? It doesn't. There is no real standard, because the standard is also a human-made idea, and I haven't found a lot of joy and self-happiness and in pursuit of those things, whether that's with your body image, or whether that's with your schoolwork, or whether that's with relationships, or your hair, or music, or whatever it is, trying to make it perfect. It just never happens. And it's really those days where your hair is just a little bit wrong, but it looks really nice, and you're like, okay, that's cool. I actually really like that, and there's a story to tell. Or someone hears the mistake in the DJ booth, and they say, yeah, he made a mistake, but he's there and he's touching things and he's doing stuff, and it sounds a little bit dirty, but yeah, life is a bit dirty sometimes, and that's okay. And no one gets to decide what's perfect. And yeah.
What is your remedy against it?
A remedy against being blocked, I think, would be taking a step back, doing something else that you love, making dinner with someone else that you love, perhaps a friend or a loved one, talking to other people who are maybe in the same area as you, looking for something new. So maybe that would be getting a new instrument or a new sample, using a new sample, or trying something, starting from a new place to use a new perspective in order to go past where you were before. Hitting the same button, hitting the same note every single time for hours and hours and hours, of course you're going to be blocked. And I do it, and people do it, and we think that it's gonna come, it's gonna come, it's gonna come. It usually won't come, and it's usually gonna come out right away. And if it comes out, it comes out, and if it doesn't, it's not gonna happen. That's my experience with most things. And so I feel as though you need to change your perspective. And so that could be going for a walk, going outside, taking a step back, 2 weeks, maybe a month, setting the laptop down, turning everything off, saying, okay, I need a break. Nothing's coming out. That's okay. I'm not bad. I still have something to say, but not right now. And it will come later. And make yourself happy in a different way, because music isn't everything. Sports aren't everything. Success is certainly not everything. And it will come out. When you have to say it, it will come out. And I believe that because I've taken pauses and I've taken breaks, and I think every time afterward, something positive has came out, and there's like a flow and a rush. And the pause has sometimes been a week, and sometimes it's been 3 months. And we'll see after Corona, when the clubs are open again, the pause has been, almost 2 years, and there's going to be a lot to say in the first club nights when things are open for DJing. And so that will be a good challenge, because there's going to be a lot to say, and, not everyone is going to be able to play for 48 hours alone and say everything they want. So it will also be a great challenge in that sense. But yeah, I think taking a step back is really important. Self-reflection, not being too hard on yourself for making the mistake or not being able to make something, and then go back with a fresh perspective, change your starting point, and try again. And if it doesn't work, try again. You can always start something new, and that's what it is.
Without your passion, your art, your life would be
empty. Yeah, it would be empty. I don't know. Life without music I find to be quite pointless and quite silly. I've never understood people who don't listen to music, who don't consume it, who don't become consumed by it. I feel as though my music is an extension of my personality, an extension of my inner thoughts, of my being. And so when someone hears a long DJ set, or they are able to listen to music with me and we talk about music, I feel as though that person knows a different part of me that is deeper than someone who doesn't listen to music with me. And that is, for me, so important. And the closest relationships I have in my life are always grounded in this fundamental love of art and music. And without that, it really is an empty abyss. Because as humans, we are not that good at many things. There's many animals that can jump higher and run faster and can smell better and can see farther. But we can think, and we can make things, and we can make little squeechy, squelchy sounds sound beautiful, and we can play the violin and we can play the piano. And we made those things, and we should be proud of that. But that is really the only thing that makes us human. And if you don't embrace that, I don't understand it. I have to embrace it, because that is the thing that makes me feel full. And without it, I mean, in this Corona time, it's been terrible. Not seeing live music, not being with other people and feeling that in the room, the energy in the room, that everyone is feeling the way you're feeling. That emotion, that feeling is indescribable. And you cannot duplicate it, no matter how many streams, no matter how many people you have in your house. You cannot duplicate that live music feeling. And I miss it, and it hurts me so much, and I can't wait to have it back. Yeah, and without it, I do feel a bit empty. And right now we're trying to find ways to fill it. We're trying to write music. We're trying to do streams. We're doing creative projects. We're trying to meet people with Abstand and everything else, but man, it is empty without it, and that is the truth. And I really cannot wait for it to be back, and it will be back, and then we can live again.
What would your creative utopia look like?
Creative utopia for me is difficult, because I don't know that creativity is very in sync with normal life, and it comes with a lot of stress, and it comes with a lot of hardship and a lot of pain. and out of the pain and out of the hardship and out of the missteps, that is where the beauty and that is where the creativity comes, because something has to come out, and always being happy is not an emotion. I don't believe in that. And in this time, I think that has shown, I think this is a very sad and hard and confusing time for a lot of us, and I know that there are weird creative things coming out of me that I hadn't seen before. And so I don't know that my utopia would be that much different. Now, the utopia of the world perhaps is a different idea, but a creative utopia has to be, for me, a bit dirty and rough and kind of fucked up, because without those really rough edges, there is nothing to say. Everything being polished and clean and nice and everything's good in life and this and this and this. There's nothing to say and there's nothing to express, because there's no feeling and there's no dirt there, and I don't feel as though you can be creative, truly make something new in those settings. And so I feel as though my life and normal life, that is where the utopia lies, within the pain and within the strange little parts in our life and those strange encounters with people and the inspiration from a bird singing, and that's just random, but okay, I'll take it, and you think of something and then you carry on. And that's for me where the creativity comes from. So I don't know that a creative utopia, I don't know that it exists for me. I have many studio wishes for my studio, to have new synthesizers and the greatest speakers and better turntables and this and this. But as far as a situation in which I'm in, it could not be another way. And so I have to use my experiences to say something, because no one can say what I want to say in the way I want to say it. And that in itself is very beautiful. And that is where personality comes out in your art. And without that, it just becomes another painting you buy from IKEA or something. It's blank. There's nothing, there's no soul in it. There's no personal pain and love in those things. And you have to just take from your life all the experiences, all the pain, all the beauty, all the love, and put those into your art. So I think our lives are currently creative utopias. It sounds super cheesy, but I really believe that. It has to come through the dirt, and I believe that. Yeah.
Who are you and what do you do?
My DJ name is Vinculum. I'm Jacob Weiler, my normal name. I live in Heidelberg, and I DJ and produce house and techno. And yeah.